Now, when I first got that from God, it was a question to me, not to you. Because it comes to me first, and then I share it with you. But the question is, are you ready? Now, when I first looked at this, and then when I saw what was happening as God was aligning things this morning, I realized, are you ready to fear the Lord? Are you ready to fear the Lord? I'm about to believe that we don't truly fear the Lord. And how do I know we don't? Because we do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it, and it don't matter who is telling us what we should do or shouldn't do. So if I don't do what I want to do, how I want to do it, then that must mean that I don't truly fear the Lord. Because he told me that I'm supposed to do what he wants me to do and not what I want to do, which is love everybody. And if I love everybody, then I can't treat everybody the way I want to treat them. I got to treat them like God wants them to treat me. Because there's somebody that I don't really want to treat right because of their attitude, the way they act. But I still got to love them. I know they hate me, and it's okay that they hate me, but I still got to love them. Why do I have to love them? Because God said so. And if I fear the Lord, then I'll do what he said. I know one thing, that I'm already justified. I don't have to prove nothing to him because I'm justified because of what Christ done. So I don't have to do good in his sake. I got to do good because he tells me to. It ain't about me trying to prove nothing to him. I ain't out here to perform and show him that I can do something good. I'm just here to do what he tells me to do. Are you ready? I'm ready. I'm ready to do just what he told me to do. What I realize is I know who Job is when I look at the story. The story tells me that Job is a man that feared the Lord. He was an upright man. Something about Job that I understand that the beginning of the text didn't tell me. It didn't tell me how Job got all that he had. In the beginning, it didn't start with me understanding how Job got what he got. It just started with me understanding that Job was an upright man. Are you ready to be an upright man or woman? Because if you are, that tells me that if Job had all that he had, 7,000 cattle, if he had all these things, you can have it too. But are you ready? See, there's something that happened to Job that I don't know that we're really ready for it. Some of us have had some Job-like experiences. And as soon as we have them, we want to say, I understand what Job been through. I recognize the troubles that Job had. But I'm here to tell you, even with all the loss that I had, I still can't account to what Job had to go through. I don't know that I'm ready. I want to be ready, but I don't know that I'm ready today. And if I say that, I want you to check yourself. I'm just telling you that I don't know that I'm ready. How do I say that? Is because if God walked in here right now and said it was time to go, would I walk out? Or would I have to say something to my baby first? See, the question about death, that's one of the things that we worry about is, when is my day coming? Not when is he coming. We're so worried about the death, we ain't worried about when he's coming. Job wasn't worried about dying. Job was just worried about doing God's business. When we look at the story of Job, there's a lot there. There's some people that's in Job's life that make Job feel like he ought to do something different. Y'all heard my wife introduce me. Sort of made me want to say something about it when I first stood up. But I said I won't say nothing because I don't want to mess it up. But then God just told me to mess it up. Because when she introduced me, what she did is she told y'all I like to talk. No matter where I'm at, I like to tell you about the goodness of the Lord. That's telling me that she recognized that I am starting to get where Job is. And what I can realize and recognize for those of you that know her, she wasn't a talker one time in her life. But she almost preached a sermon up there. If it was good. That's because what God is doing for me, he will do it in my family. Y'all gonna see the picture in a minute. I'm just trying to let you see what happened in the story. See, what God does for you, he'll do it for your family. All it takes is for you to come together. The same way one man messed it up for everybody, one man can fix it for everybody. What we do is we try and live our life according to what man said. Job won't study man. And because Job won't study man, Job was able to get all that his heart could handle. Oh, it's bad when you can get all that God got for you, but ain't willing to take all that God got for you. God has blessed so many of us with so many things, but yet when the first storm come our way, we ready to shut down and say we don't know who God is. God done gave me a new truck, and I'm ready to shut down because the tire went flat. We are so stuck on what bad things are happening, we forget all the good things that God has done for us. Job never forgot. He never forgot what happened, how he got where he got. Job got all those things that he got because he was an upright man. He did what God said do. He feared the Lord. He didn't fear man, he feared the Lord. Are we ready? Are we truly ready to be the type of person that Job is? Let me see if you're ready. Are you ready to suffer for somebody else's sake? Are you ready to get up every morning and sacrifice for your children? Are you ready to give up some of your goodness? Because that was Job's goodness, but he sacrificed his goodness for his family's sake. Every morning. Are you really ready to pray for your family every morning? That's what Job did. I'm just trying to show you who Job was. And if we want to really be ready when it comes, I'm trying not to get to the end before the end get there. But God is saying that Job was ready because he had a conversation in that 8th verse. Are you ready for him to have that same conversation about you? Are you ready for him to say, have you tried Minister Archer? I don't know that I'm ready. For him to really set Satan loose on me. But I think in our disobedience, sometimes we ask for him to set Satan loose on us. Because of our own disobedience, not because of our obedience, but our disobedience caused him to set Satan loose on us. I'd rather him set him loose on me because of my obedience than my disobedience. Job had backup when Satan was messing with him. But if Job wanted an upright man, who would have been his backup? I want to look a little further at Job because Job got what he got by working. Y'all didn't hear that this morning text, did you? Read a little further. If you read a little further, it'll tell you when God is talking with Satan, he said that Satan asked the question, you got a hands around him. What else do you think he's going to do? You gave him everything else. He said by his hands. He got it. It was by what he did that he got it. Oh, by what he did. First thing that we want to do is talk about digging boom. You drive that truck, you're going to get a check. But it ain't because you drove the truck that's going to get you the check. It's because your obedience to God that kept you in the job, that got you to get the truck, that let you drive the truck, and then you can get the check. But it's because what you do for God that allow everything else to line up. But what we think it is our own doing. I got up. I went to work this morning. I earned that check. And if the man don't pay you, then you ready to fight because I ain't get my check. Where my check at? Well, if he don't pay me, what I'm going to do is believe in God. And versus me, selfishness. Selfishness. God God wants me to understand that being selfish is about getting what I think belongs to me versus getting what do belong to me. Selfishness causes you to go out to try and get that extra salary, that bonus, that raise. Selfishness. But what reality is, what God wants us to do is be the Job type person that's not so much about self, but about those that we love. Oh, wait a minute. That messed me up. Didn't I say you can hate me, Reverend Lee, and I still got to love you? So that means that even the people that hate you, that you still got to love, you got to make some sacrifices for them. You got to sacrifice for the people that despise you. It can't just be about those that in your family. There's folk that despise you that you got to make a sacrifice for. It can't be all about you. It's got to be about those that God loves. And he loves all of us. So if he loves us all, then we must love us all. And that means that I got to make some sacrifices for somebody else. Job, when he worked, he had access to things that he needed. I don't know his full story, but I have to believe that he had some seeds. Couldn't get crop without some seeds. I had to believe that he had at least one or two animals to start with in order for him to multiply. But no matter what he started with, God allowed him to get to where he got to. What we have the problem with is if we start with $1, we want to get to $1 million. You ain't got to get to $1 million to recognize what God has done with the dollar. It was because of what God did for Job that he was able to get the crop that he had. He was able to get the cattle that he had. He was able to have all that he had. All of his children had their own place. That means that not only did he bless Job, but he blessed Job's children. Even though, if you read the text, Job's children might not have been all right. See, we don't want to do nothing for our kids if they ain't living quite right. If they ain't doing everything according to what we think they're supposed to be doing, we don't want to do nothing for them because that's taking it out of context. Yes, how do I know? I was one of those. And sometimes still am. If my daughter don't do it exactly how I think she ought to do it, I want to tell her, well, you ain't not from here. But that ain't what Job was doing. Job was still blessing his family, but he was praying for his family. And no matter what the outcome was going to be for his family, he knew that he went and petitioned God on their behalf. That's all he's looking for from us. Are you ready to petition God on the behalf of that disrespectful, talking back, smacking mouth child of yours? Are you ready? Because that's what's going to happen. Oh yeah. They start out nice, cuddly. You want to hold, play with them. Then they get by Paul's age. And you start to wonder about him. Is he going to turn left? Or is he going to turn right? But what I know is, it don't matter which way he turns. I'm going to turn to the Lord. And because I'm going to turn to the Lord, the outcome is going to be good. That's right. In the end. That's right. All I got to do is keep striding for what the Lord said and not what I want. Oh yeah, I want Paul to be perfect. I want him to be right. I don't want him to be in trouble with the other kids. I want him to do all the things that I think he ought to do. But what I know is, no matter what he do, I'm going to pray that God take care of what happens. Because if God takes care of it, guess what I can do? I can sleep at night. If you let God handle the situation, you ain't have to worry. I can tell you, we talked about some sadness in the county. But I've seen some stuff on Facebook from both of those parents. And that's some strong parents. Because all they've been doing that I've seen, they might do it in secret, but what I've seen publicly is they're giving God the glory. For even the bad things that has happened in their life, they're still giving God the glory. If you give God the glory, the outcome will be exactly what you want it to be. Amen. In the end, and I'm almost there. I'm at that 8th verse now. And in that 8th verse, this is the main meat of the message for me. There was an invitation given. Did y'all see it? There was an invitation. But I don't know that Job wanted to go to that party. But he was invited. And there's something about being invited to a party. I can remember back in the day when I used to do what they call craft party. They would be having a party. You ain't got to get no more details. They could be having a party in the complex on Elizabeth City State campus. And I'm not invited. But because I knew some people, I would get them together and I said, let's go. And we would crash the party. Now, the thing about crashing the party is this. If you crash a party and you don't bring some help with you, you could get bounced out all by yourself. But there's something about being invited to a party. If you're invited to a party, that means the host invited you. And if the host invites you to the party, then that means the host is going to take care of your well-being. So no matter what happens around you, when the crowd starts getting around you and start coming at you and want to attack you because the host invited you, the host is going to step up on your behalf. Oh, I'm about to be able to see this party that Job was invited to. Job was invited to this party because Satan was looking for somebody to have a party with. He'd already been roaming. That's what he told us. He said, I've been looking. I'm looking for somebody to have a party with. And God said, have you tried my servant Job? An upright man. I can see Satan smiling right now. Oh, I got one. Because if I can get this one, I can get all those that's around him. Because if he crumbles, everybody around him is going to crumble. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe God didn't take me here, but he's here. If they attack the leader, then everything around it will crumble. But watch this, because I want you to see the difference. If they attack what's out there and the leader stands firm, everything gets restored. Oh, y'all didn't see it? Look at the story. What happened was Job came to the party that he didn't really want to go to, but he went because God invited him. And since God was the host, we thought, as I told the story, it sounded like Satan might have been the one having the party, but God was the host of the party. He just let Satan have way in the party. And so what happens is, in the church, we have people that come into the church and they want to have way, and God let them have way, but he keeps the leader in cover. And what he do is, if the leader just sits still sometimes, all they got to do is sit still and watch and not get all excited and say, oh, I got to do something about that. I got to stop that. I got to fix that. I got to fix this. I got to do this. If the leader will stop trying to fix it and let God let it work out, that's right. Then it'll all come together. But the problem is, because the leader sometimes drops his head. get weak. And when he gets weak, guess what everybody else do? They fold. But look at what had to happen to Job. See, if I think about this story and I look at Job, I look at all of his children. Only one person came back when his children was killed. And it wasn't none of his kids. And the person that came back with the story didn't come back and said, oh, Job, we got to hide and we got to do this. This is what's going on. He came back and told him, I'm the only one left. Yeah. And then when all of his animals was being stole by the other people, one man made it back. Oh, there's something about that, y'all. One survivor is all you need. All you need is one person that stands strong and everything will work out right. All he needed was one person to make it back to tell him what was going on, because if too many came back, he might have got too many stories. All he needs is one good story to know what he needs to do. What's the problem with us? Are we ready to accept one story? Am I ready to just accept your story, Deacon Boone? Or do I need your story, and then after I hear your story, I need to hear Sister Boone's story to try and get it all together and see how it works out? Because what happens with that two stories is I translate the best story. And I take the one that fits my needs and I follow that story and end up doing what I want to do. But when God sent one person back with the story, you ain't got no other stories to compare it to. So what you realize is that, yes, all of my children are dead. I ain't got somebody else saying that, well, maybe one of them survived. And so I got nothing to trust in but the one story. And so what God wants us to do is get ready to hear one story. We ain't got to hear 25 stories before we make a decision. All we got to hear is one story. And so when I'm looking at this story, and I realized that Job was invited to a party that he didn't want to go to. How do I know he didn't want to go? Because I didn't want to go to a party like that. If I knew what was going on, I wouldn't want to be there. But Job went to the party, and here's what happened to Job. Job went through crisis after crisis after crisis. And if you read further in the text, as I said, I'm not reading anymore of the text, but if you read further in the text, you'll find out that Satan and God had to have another conversation. Wait a minute. You done did all this to this man, and you still got to come back? That's telling you something. Are you ready to go through what Job went through in the first session? Some of us might say yes, because you know what happened? In the first session, Job really didn't have a whole lot to happen to Job. All the things that was happening around Job. It was happening to him in his spirit, but it wasn't happening to him physically. And sometimes what we do is, because we're not going through any physical infirmities, we are okay with taking all the other persecutions. But Pastor Lee, you can tell them that when you go through the physical, you can come out on the other side, and you can realize that the only way you were able to come out of the physical was because of God. It wasn't because your spirit got better after you forgot what happened to your family. You know what happened to you physically. And that's what Job had to look at. And that's why I'm saying, are you really ready? Are you ready to take on the physical abuse that could come to you for serving God? Because sometimes that's what you got to go through. You got to go through some physical attack. Your spiritual have been attacked all along. And you've been able to fight through that. But can you really fight through the physical? And that's what Job had to do. He had to fight through the physical. Satan went back and asked him. He said, well, look. I've still been looking. And he had to remind him, have you tried? So he asked. And God said, listen, you can do it. You can go and do what you want to Job. Are you ready for him to do what he wants to you? But listen to this. The one thing he couldn't do. Take his life. What you have that belong to God is your life. And if you understand and recognize that that's really all that you have is your life, then you won't worry about all the other things. Your physical infirmities, none of that will matter if you recognize that as long as you have life, you still have what God wants you to have. Now, the key to that is, what life? What is life without life? See, a lot of us have been in church for a long time. And Job has lived his life for a long time. But what Job proved was that he had life. No justification, but life. Can I bring it home now? I said Job had no justification, but he had life. We have justification and life. Did you get it? Okay, well, maybe you didn't get it. You have justification in life, but here's how you have justification in life. There was another party, and there was somebody invited to another party. And they didn't go to the party just because they wanted to go to the party. They was invited to the party, and they ended up at the party. This person ended up at the party knowing what the outcome was going to be. But they went to the party anyhow. Similarity, as I said, one man can destroy it all. But then one man can restore it all. And so this man that went to the party decided that I would go to the party because my father is sending me to the party. And because my father is sending me to the party, I'm willing to go to the party, and I'm willing to go through everything that I got to go through to make sure that we can restore. So this man went to the party. This man came in the form of human flesh, where he didn't have to come in human flesh to be at the party. He was already at the party, but he wanted to make sure his presence was known at the party, so he had to be physically seen at the party so that you will know that he existed at the party. Yeah. See, sometimes people show up at a party and you don't realize that they've been there because you can't see him. But this man came to the party and he showed up in the form of a baby. And he came to the party and he went through life. And I saw something this morning, and I was talking to Deacon Cross about this. There was something about an age. I was looking at one of our youth that was just taken from us. His age. What the Jewish customs say is that number is the age of adulthood. That's that year of crossover. And so this young man came to this party and stayed at the party learning, watching, getting information. And then he came to that age where it was time to stand up at the party and be seen. And he was seen at the party, and he was recognized at the party. Guess what? Y'all may not recognize the man until I tell you that he was invited to a real party too. And at that party, he started to do some things. He started to work some miracles. He started to turn some water into wine. Oh, maybe now y'all know what I'm talking about. Maybe y'all didn't realize that I switched from Job and started talking about the man that really made the party live. Because a party ain't really a party until it starts to jump, right? Our party didn't start jumping. And I can tell you that I hung out, but my party didn't really start jumping until the man stepped into my life. And because of what he did at his party, he came to the party willing to die for you and I. Job wasn't thinking about dying. Job was thinking about, how do I get out of this? This man was thinking about dying for you and I. He went to the party with that in mind. He went to the party knowing that I was going to be on a cross, hanging for you and I. He went to the party knowing that he was going to be pierced. He went to the party knowing that they were going to spit on him. He went to the party knowing that they were going to call him out of his name. He went to the party knowing what the outcome was going to be. But I'm so glad he went to the party. Because if he didn't go to the party, it might not be life as we know it. But because he went to the party, he had to finish the party. And the party didn't stop on the cross. He gave up the ghost on the cross. Oh, wait a minute. Satan couldn't take Job's life, right? If Satan couldn't take Job's life because God said, nah, I'm about to believe it. I want you to understand this. I want you to catch this. I want you to see how these two stories really align. If Satan couldn't take Job's life because God said, nah, guess what man couldn't do? Man couldn't take Jesus' life. Jesus gave his own life so that you and I can have life. It wasn't that man took his life. It wasn't a pierce in the side. It wasn't nothing they did that took his life. He gave up his life. And after he gave up his life, he decided that I'm going to do some more for you. I'm going down in the tomb and I'm going to defeat death. And I'm going to bring back something for you. And when he came out of that tomb, on that third day, they say Sunday morning, he got up early on Sunday morning, not with some power, but all power. And because he's got all power, then you have all power. And if you got all power, then what sickness can hurt you? What other things can harm you? What man can kill you? Can't nobody do nothing to you because Jesus is on the inside of you. Oh, that's the question. That's the question. And I know this is not the message of a shouting John message. But it's the message of this. Are you ready? Are you ready for Jesus to return tomorrow? See, the song said, because he lives, I can face tomorrow. But I want you to know it's because he lived, I can face today. Because tomorrow is not promised to me. And I want to know that if he came today, that I would be ready. And so the question is, are you ready for his return right now? If you're waiting for tomorrow and he shows up today, then you are not going to make it. But if you're not ready, you can get ready. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot. Oh, come to church, being a deacon, being an usher, being a choir member, being a preacher, being a pastor. None of that is what it's going to take. And there's a lot of us that's doing all of that and ain't going to see him. Oh, we going to see Jesus when he comes. But we ain't going to see heaven. We'll see Jesus when he comes. Because everybody's going to see him. But you ain't going to make it into the kingdom. Are you ready? If you have not done this, if you have not done this, this is what I'm going to tell you. And if you have not done this, then you are not ready. It's as simple as that. If you have not done this, you are not ready. And that thing that you need to have done is ask the Lord for forgiveness. But not just ask him for forgiveness, but you have to believe in your heart that he is who he said he is. Because it's okay to ask somebody for forgiveness and not believe that they forgive you. That's right. And so if you don't believe who he is, then you won't believe that he can forgive you. Why won't you believe that? Because you asked me for forgiveness and next week you look at me and you can tell that I didn't forgive you. So we have learned that we can't be really forgiven by man, but this man forgives you. And you have to believe that. If you don't truly believe, I ask that you give your life to him today. How do you know that you're not there? Man can't judge you, but you can. I can tell you when I wasn't there. I was in the choir. I can tell you when I wasn't there. I was on the trustee board. I can tell you when I wasn't there. I was working the sound system in the church. I can tell you when I wasn't there. When I got married my first time. I can tell you when I wasn't there. When I was going to Sunday school every morning, Bible study every Tuesday night, I can tell you when I was not there. It was when I did not ask him into my life. I was in church doing all the things that I needed to do, but I was not there. And that's all that I can say to you this morning, this afternoon. In closing, are you ready? I'll do this invitation now. And this invitation is not like any other. This is not opening the doors of Stoney Branch. This is not